Hello and welcome to Cherry Street Sports. We have women's triples final action here today. This is the first end. We've just had a couple of little technical issues this morning with the wind and the weather. So Billy Johnson's out there. You can see him on screen just giving our camera a little bit of a clean up. Nick Hind is my name. It's fantastic to be with you. This is the women's triples final. It's the first end as we see Cabramatta up against Merrylands. And what should be a cracking contest between two powerhouse clubs and two powerhouse trios of women's competitors. So, the first end, as mentioned, we had just a few issues with the rain this morning. We've had to change greens. Billy Johnson's about to step in alongside me as we see Karen Murphy's first bowl of the match. Billy Johnson, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Nick. What a day, huh? 4 seasons in one day. I just had beautiful weather yesterday in the afternoon up here at Cherry Street, and completely different this morning. Nice, wet and a little bit windy, just to really add that extra bit of spice for players playing in the finals this morning.
Yeah, suboptimal is the nice way of saying it, but they've got their wet weather gear on. The players, they're out there. And for Katie Astley here,
a stack of early pressure by the looks of it.
Oh, exactly right. So if you can reach up and turn this head over.
Need this to hold. It's a great effort.
So triples finals action for you here today. We've got the women's state triples final. We have got the men's senior triples final, the women's senior triples final, and the open reserve triples all here at Cherry Street this morning. We have swapped greens for those that are eagle-eyed amongst you after last night's men's final. And what a cracking display it was from Cabramatta, Billy.
An absolutely brilliant match. I was watching myself. And fair play to Merrylands, down a fair few shots, probably 9 or 10 at one stage early on in the match. And lesser teams may have called it quits there, or at least thought it was a bridge too far, but not the Merrylands boys. They stuck firm and I think got within 3 or 4 shots at one stage. So really made a great game of it.
Yeah, I did some of the coverage last night. I thought it was very credible for Sean Thompson and his crew to manufacture as many shots as they did in difficult situations. So, very well done to them. But
so we see Katie Astley here. She's certainly got less weight. Can she hold on, cut down? Well, might have been fourth shot. They'll probably have a look.
3 out now, yes.
Viewers may have seen my delicate skills at just trying to clear the lens there from the camera at the other end of the green. Obviously, they can see there. It's a perfect example. The rain is absolutely teeming down and at quite an angle. So we'll try and keep the camera views as clear as possible for you viewers.
Yeah. The raincoat might be employed now.
That was 3 to Cabramatta. So Katie Astley did cut down 1 or 2 shots there with her last bowls, but a good start for the Bull Ants.
So a few spits of rain on the lenses on both front and back camera. I reckon at some stage, Billy, I might go and have a play with that umbrella up the far end and see if I can just get it down a little bit lower to prevent that. You can see here in the picture the umbrellas. Well, one's the poor scoreboard attendant. That's been blown inside out.
Well, we may not need to adjust the umbrella. The wind might just pick up and blow it down for us.
Well, don't want to be doing that.
So, Jessie Cottell on the backhand here, straight onto the jack first up. It's a great start. It'll be the order of play throughout this game. Good weight, nice aggressive lines, turning heads over.
Well, young Sophie Payne, she was very impressive yesterday in the semi-final that we brought to you. And makes things look easy as a up-and-coming junior. Well, a rising star, a current star, really.
Amazing to think for Katie's sake, just out of juniors herself, that she's not even the youngest in the team.
Yeah, we had Michael Wilkes on the stream yesterday, who's been heavily involved with this junior program, and he said it was great to see so many of the recent graduates to get involved, take ownership of what they're doing. As the rain does intensify a little here, and Sophie Payne just going to run a little short.
I think regardless of the result this morning, for both Sophie and for Katie, this is just going to be a valuable experience for the both of them. I mean, to play in a state triples final or any state championship final is a great experience, but playing against some of the best in the game at the moment, it's just going to do wonders for their game and their experience as bowlers.
Well, we did see these two clubs met only a few weeks ago at Fig Tree Sports in the Women's Division 1 pennant final. And it was what ended up being a runaway victory despite the very best efforts of Merrylands. They had a good crack.
Great shot here.
Yes. Sharon Farrell could be, it's close to number one. Probably three in the argument there as I look over my right shoulder.
And I've got to say, despite the runaway score at the end of the that state pennant final, I was really impressed with the way that Katie Astley held herself, playing a skip in that side up against, I believe it was Ellen Ryan, her ring.
Ellen Fife now, but yes.
Ellen Fife, I'm sorry.
How dare you.
Still in my junior days, thinking of her as young Ellen Ryan from Goulburn. But yes, Ellen Fife, thank you, Nick.
Well, she's still young Ellen Fife from Goulburn, but partner Mac, and they have baby number one now, and looks like they've got themselves a very nice life there in regional New South Wales. She's been a great influence on one of the ACT's brightest juniors, Jordan Sturgis. If you get the chance to watch Jordan in action, looks almost to be a duplicate copy of Ellen Ryan's action.
Ellen Fife.
Ellen Fife.
Glad we got one back on you.
That's 1-1.
Well, if that is the case, I mean, she's got one of the best deliveries in the game, in my opinion. So sturdy, so compact, so consistent, and shows in her results. There's not much that she hasn't won, and at such a young age.
Well, talking about one of the best deliveries in the game, Karen Murphy, for her entire magnificent career. We see the winds really grabbed that one, ripped it across. Wind being more of a factor today than what we've seen. This weather's really challenging for our players. So Katie Astley, can she navigate the wind, the rain, and get down a grab shot for her Merrylands side?
The line looked decent. Don't think she's got the legs for it. Again, it's probably not going to be the last time we see a few short bowls played today in these conditions. And easy to say this from the comfort of our commentary box, Nick, but I'm sure you know as well as anyone, probably the team with the fewest amount of short bowls will go a long way to winning this one.
Yeah, you're exactly right. As
Karen just gets caught up there.
You can see on your screen there's another camera's turned up from the local news network, so Jamie Lee did jump in front of our camera, perhaps inadvertently there. So this is the situation that Katie Astley has to contend with. There's still a wide open track to get to the jack, but in these tricky conditions.
Yeah, well, the good news is there is a clear port there. If she gets back to that wing bowl, Jessie Cottell, she'll be really close to counting. Again, it's a great line. Running on, great shot. I think the indication there was 2, and it is.
So, well done, Katie Astley, and well done, Merrylands. On the board early.
That'll settle some nerves.
Well, we've seen from Cabramatta in the program so far some powerhouse performances. And
it's a testament to the strength of both their men's and women's sides. They feature so heavily in all these state championship events.
Billy, I'm going to step out and go and see if I can arrange that camera. I've got the better raincoat. You can press the buttons.
Here we go, viewers. This is going to be exciting.
And I'll be back in a moment.
So, as Nick runs to the other end of the green to give you the best possible access, viewers. I'll bring this view over to the other end. You can see here the water just dripping on the camera angle there, but we'll keep on it. You can see a clear enough view at the moment. This is Jessie Cottell's first, coming down, just slipping past camera. It has stayed up on the green. Sophie Payne slipping through as well. She is holding shot though. Not much of an adjustment required here for Jessie. Just need to drop a couple of feet if she can. It'll be good enough for shot. Coming down nicely. Has it got the run? It has. Well played. Delivery here. Sharon Farrell. She's played it well. Could be close for shot. Jamie Lee Worsnop wasting no time. She's down on the forehand as well. Karen clapping it in. Has it got the legs? Oh, it's close too. So possibly two to Cabramatta, but a little opportunity here. You can just see Katie Astley saying exactly that. Just arrive up on the forehand there for Sharon Farrell. So we see Sharon's delivery again. Oh, she's turned on it. It's just under. Karen Murphy just having a discussion here with Jamie Lee Worsnop. We can see her on the mat there. Just talking about what's the best way to change this head up, try and make it less inviting, see if they can turn something around. It's a great effort, just pulling up short. As the players walk up to the mat end, you can see in this angle the rain just tumbling down. Katie and Sharon just having a bit of a discussion here about what weight to play or how to arrive at this head. So, Katie taking her time on the mat. It's good to see. Wants to make sure she's comfortable. Looks to be a backhand shot. She's winding up. Got it away. Needs it to hurry. Well. It's probably forcing Karen onto the forehand. Doesn't want to get caught up on that bowl of Katie's, so here's a switch to the forehand. Any contact on these bowls with a couple of feet would be ideal. She's under. Again, it doesn't make it any easier for Katie. It almost probably forces her onto the forehand, you'd think. Just a few more options there. Doesn't want to get caught up in either of those bowls short of jack high on the backhand. Yeah, she's made up her mind. Looks like she's changing hands. Maybe she's not. Could be sticking to the backhand here. Well, she is. High degree of difficulty on this shot. This is exactly what she probably would have been worried about. Gets caught up on those two bowls and just didn't get the result she was looking for. So a bit of a missed opportunity there. We'll see if Karen can capitalise and add to the count. On a good line. Gets the edge of the bowl. Well, she's probably glad she just clipped it there. I think there was a bit of a wry smile from Jessie and Jamie Lee. As it stands, it's at least one to Cabramatta. Measuring for second. That's just the one. So, single shot to Cabra. They now lead 4-2 after 3 ends in this women's state triples final. Jack just going in the ditch there. So, forcing a change of length here. Katie Astley electing to go shorter. See from the side view here, you can excuse the water, viewers. It is teeming with rain at the moment. Just under from Jessie. Speed looks very good. Sophie Payne playing her forehand. It is the tighter hand. Again, speed was lovely. Can Jessie Cottell correct on her first? She's certainly on a higher line. Karen's clapping it in. It looks close. Is it going to get past? It does. Great correction. But again, not much of a correction needed here from Sophie. She gets underneath her last, should be good. Speed dependent. Jamie Lee coming down nicely. It's going to be in the count. It's a good shot. Still open either hand, though, for Sharon Farrell. What a reply there from Sharon Farrell. Dead draws the shot. Brilliantly played. Jamie Lee wasting no time. Gets the inside of her own. Back onto Jessie Cottell. Sticks around for second shot. It's a good result for it. Nick, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, Billy. I can't say I particularly enjoyed that, but
the viewers enjoyed all the experience of you actually making it a pleasurable viewing.
Well, I just wanted to get that camera up a little bit higher underneath the umbrella at the far end there. And in doing so, hopefully means that we're not going to run around out there. The next one I'm concerned about is this one that we're looking at now.
I've shown the side view a few times just to give, I think if anything, it's an immersive experience for the viewers, seeing just how wet it actually is here at the moment.
Yes, well, an immersive experience is all well and good, but I'd like to make sure the camera can keep bringing us pictures for the next game too, so I might go and attend to that presently, but it has eased. I've been out there, and
Karen Murphy here on the forehand. Just the one down. Can see the opportunity here. Sit the bowl trail the jack. Don't think she'll get back. Hasn't missed it by much.
Well, my finger was hovering over the replay button there, Billy.
Another bowl lying in wait. So, precarious shot that Merrylands are holding at the moment. Katie Astley would love nothing more than to just slip past that shot bowl. She sits in for second shot grade or slips further past and gets something behind. Nothing for short. She's played this pretty well. She's played this very well.
Katie Astley.
And right behind the jack too. Almost completely blocks that trail. That is an absolute ripper bowl in these early stages of the final.
So let's see what Karen Murphy can do with all her experience. Well, that was the one to avoid.
Caught up.
And now Katie Astley, well, if that blue bowl to the right-hand side of the line there can move, does that front one come in that Karen Murphy just bumped up? Could be a 4 here.
Be a great shot. I think she'll just be conscious of not being only a fraction tight onto the shot bowl. She just pops the jack out. I reckon if she does an absolute video replay of her first bowl, she'll be ecstatic to pick up a 3. But you are right, Nick. The opportunity is there.
Early on in the game, that's a conservative line.
Still getting some great turnout on that hand.
She played with good weight there. I wonder if she was looking for that. At any rate, it is 2 shots, and that's 4 all after 4. So a good final underway here. And as things ease off, Lee Stinson has some protective gear on. I might get him to go and give this middle camera just a little bit of a scrape with our cloth here. So we'll have a look at the bowl there. This was the one that made it a good 2 and made it very hard for Karen Murphy.
Look at this coming right in. Slips just past shot bowl. Rests back there. Right in the centre line. Could not have played that much better. Katie Astley.
So despite my best efforts, you can see there on our camera there still is some
residue.
Moisture on the lens, but that's okay. We'll persevere. The wind is very gusty up that far end of the green, so we just might be sending our runners out all day here to ensure we can bring you the best pictures.
So if you're just cutting a line again, speed was very good.
So I'm going to let you know around the other rinks. We will have those live results coming through presently. Albion Park Trail Dubbo in the Senior 4s 4-2. Belrose are trailing in the reserves.
Belrose in the senior men's, I believe.
Is that the senior men's, is it?
Senior men's, yes.
My apologies, it is the senior men's over there. They're trailing 3 shots to 0.
After 3.
See. And there's a 3-0 score in the women's seniors, but of course I don't know who that is because they've got no names up on the board, and if they have put it up in chalk, it's washed away.
Our early stages of this game, we'll make sure we can get those updates straight to your viewers, so you'll be able to see those scores come through.
Yeah, that's getting very ordinary again, I think. That middle camera might need a little tune up again here.
Nothing ordinary about that bowl from Sharon Farrell, though. That's the shot.
See there, there's misty rain on the lens. It's not heavy, and it's not heavy enough to stop play.
Jamie Lee, she was on a good line, only just a fraction short.
Well, it was interesting, Billy, being up where this camera is positioned here, was able to see the bowls in their running, and it does look like, while there's still some reasonable turn, they do look like they're pulling up very quickly. And after, well, the fantastic green speeds we saw throughout the day, over the last few days while we've had some sunshine, it's been excellent. But a little bit doughier today. And who does that favour? I mean, Karen Murphy, with all her Northern Hemisphere experience, perhaps.
Well, it's hard to say if it actually favours one team over the other. Both these sides would be used to playing in all conditions. I have to agree with you to the extent that, given Karen's experience playing international level bowls all across the world, she'd be no stranger to these kinds of conditions at the moment. We see Katie drawing a great shot again.
Oh,
that's the shot. Still a few gaps there.
Number one, and here's two or potentially three. Do we like Sophie further to the left there?
It's every chance. Karen looks a good line. Needs to drop off now. Good shot. You'd probably think that's third at least.
Yeah, just looking at the planes for an indication.
So Katie.
So Lee Stinson's going to have a look at our middle camera most prominently, Lee. Very gently, please. Don't bump it. Katie's been given explicit instructions from Sophie, from Sharon Farrell.
She's on a good line herself.
Well, no touch on the jack now, unless it goes sideways.
Oh, that is a great shot. That is a brilliant bowl. An air of danger there in having to arrive, but you can see why. It's paid off for her, cover and count.
Well, favourite gets it back to 3, and did it move Karen far enough to bring the Sophie Payne bowl into the equation once again?
Either way, it's a bit of pressure back on this Cabra side. Karen looks a similar line. I think she's got plenty on this. She's close to that backward.
Well, she's played almost the same bowl.
Wow.
As Katie Astley. But rocked a few things around at the back of the rink there. So 2 are going to come out.
Looks like they're already pointing at that wing bowl there to say that that's in the count.
And Sophie Payne, yeah, she's in. And now this back bowl, that's in too. So it's going to be a big collect. 4 shots. Well done, Merrylands.
That's a huge pickup for the Merrylands side.
Got to remind Lee Stinson that when the red light is on is when the camera is live.
Probably didn't help that I just gave him a thumbs up beforehand.
Not the green light.
Yeah, he's taking your instruction well, Nick.
Well, you have to be explicit sometimes, don't you? Now, a question coming through. So why wasn't the final played yesterday afternoon or evening with the men's? It was to give an opportunity for us to stream both the women's final and the men's final. So trying to give both the men's and women's equal coverage. And as we go back to the side shot now, well, Lee Stinson, you've done a magnificent job. That
clear
looks
as day.
Crystal clear. And so long as I can still move that camera, and I can, you've done well, as has Sophie, just sneaking up there. So 8-4 after 5. I feel if Merrylands were going to, spring an upset, they needed to do something like this, get out of the gates well.
Absolutely. This is the exact start they would have wanted. We know a side of Cabramatta's strength. They'll never go away. So they're going to be well in contention here throughout this match. But Merrylands showing no signs of nerves.
No, we've streamed both these sides earlier in the competition, so brilliant to have them back on your screens, wherever you're watching around Australia or around the world. Nick Hind and Billy Johnson with you here this morning from Cherry Street Sports for the 2025 TAB State Championships. Drizzly conditions here today, but the players, well, they're tough.
Oh, they were never going to miss this. They have any opportunity to be out there, you know they're going to go out there. The last thing they want is to not be able to play a final for the conditions. We see Sharon making a pretty decent attempt there of a correction. She slipped past, but it's something past Jack.
Well, you're okay with that as an adjustment. Gave the ball a chance, reach past.
Looks a decent correction here from Jamie Lee as well. Well, it's slipping past more than I thought it would, so not sure of shot, but whether or not it's that Jessie Cottell wing bowl or the slightly shorter bowl there of Sophie Payne.
So, pairs starting this afternoon, and what a game we intend to bring to you today, pending our weather, of course. St John's Park, Joey Clark and Ben Twist against Tuncurry Beach's Daniel Jessup and Matt Carter.
Well, that'd be a cracking match.
Well, what a way to kick off the men's pairs.
Well, we've already witnessed some absolutely spectacular bowling from Ben Twist when he teamed up with Bree Brown Smith to win the mixed pairs.
Well, some of the best play you'll ever see from Ben Twist.
I walked past him the other day and thanked him for giving us some of the best content we've been able to produce on our Bowls New South Wales stream, and be happy to see if he does it again.
And on the TikTok page and YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, you can find it anywhere.
So we see Karen just skirting that bowl. It's a great shot.
Well, it's number one. What's best back here? It is still, there's a bowl of Jessie Cottell right at the back of the rink there.
I'm not sure if Katie has that absolute bullet drive in her arsenal. She certainly played those nicely weighted shots well so far. I wonder if she'll try and stick to that game plan.
Yeah, so best back at the rink there is the green and gold bowl on the right of screen. So it probably prevents big weight up the middle.
Yeah, you can see that Katie a little disappointed with that. Just got caught out trying to play that bit of extra weight and allowing for more turn than there was at present on that side. So Karen...
Well, repeat the dose here, Billy Johnson.
Yeah, won't want to put the commentator's curse on her, but a player of her experience knows how important these shots are. Already played a really good bowl. Want to repeat that dosage. And looks like she has.
Yeah, that's in.
Yep, great shooting.
So... 2 out for Karen Murphy. We'll have a look and see whether the wing bowl of Jessie Cottell's in, or if Sophie Payne can keep it to 2. The front, yeah, 2 it was. So 6 ends in. 8-6. Merrylands getting well supported here from the spectators.
Yeah, given the conditions, still a great crowd turning up. Some great finals action across 4 rinks this morning.
Well, we see Jack's gone skipping along the surface. It has stayed up, and Katie Astley helping Karen out, putting it at the 2 metre mark. So we're going to be playing only a metre or so off maximum length here.
Yeah, it's a good move from the Cabra side that just screams Karen Murphy tactics. Slow green, holding lines, go ditch to ditch, make it as difficult as possible for your opposition.
Yeah, let's test out how good your technique is when you've got a go maximum length here on this heavier, but still remarkably well played. Remarkably good surface.
Oh, we've said it almost every stream. It's a credit to Duncan Elphick and his team of greenkeepers. The way they've kept these greens in fantastic condition. It's certainly been appreciated by the players too. It's a similar line, I think, for Jessie Cottell.
Well, this looks really, really good.
Just needs to run.
In terms of line, that was looking bang on there, but just
pull up a fraction short.
So after Lee Stinson has finished his media duties, the face of Bowls New South Wales, we might need him to have a look at that far camera. Now, I'll remind you, Lee Stinson, when the red light is on, it means the camera is on. When the green light is on, you can go for it.
Just seeing last night's men's triples winners, Ben Moorthorpe and Aaron Wilson, walking into the club, probably to support their teammates. Great to see.
So we're seeing here, there's still a chance to land one. I mean, anything inside a metre here from Farrell will be the shot. Sharon Farrell.
She's looking good here. This is a great shot.
Better than good, Billy.
What a bowl.
Watch that one again. Flirts around the front and drops straight onto the jack.
Yeah, it's a great shot.
Back live here.
Well, slipping past Jamie Lee. It's into a good home. Into a very good home. So, Sharon will just be looking to repeat what she did. Even if she happens to slip past and stay up, it's going to be a pretty good set for her. On a higher line. Her weight's good here. It's certainly helping. It might just be enough for third shot.
What's the view from the other side of the ring? As Lee gives that camera a little tickle up, and
ooh,
wow,
just see that bowl of Sharon Farrell's falling over.
Makes it a slightly easier target to get to. Pop that jack back. Could be 2 counters at the back of the rink for Cabramatta.
Yep. Karen will be looking up on this forehand, arriving. I think she's just under. Needs some assistance. She's got some assistance. That's a toucher. So, toucher in the ditch for Merrylands. You can see it there on the side view. Thank you, Nick. Only about a foot away from it. And 2 seconds for Cabramatta. Not that that will mean much given how close that shot bowl is on the ditch. So almost looks like a bit of a shootout for the skips now to see who can draw as close to the ditch as possible for second. Katie Astley, she's on the mat at the moment, getting ready to line up. Just keep that side angle view for your viewers so you can see the head. She's just delivered her bowl now. You'll see it started to come into view.
Well, first job is successful, got past the tee. Second job, well, just needed to get past.
Gee, she wasn't far off, was she?
Jessie Cottell. We're going to have to unplug and replug in camera 2, which is that end. After this, Lee's bumped it enough that it can't drive it anymore. So Karen Murphy underway. Cabramatta players will indicate, their body language will tell you, well, she's chipped it up once.
Wow, one roll too many. Gee, what an effort. So, a small but nonetheless available opportunity here for Katie Astley to draw another counter. Only needs to beat her bowl there on left of screen by a fraction. Get her on the running edge. I'd say a foot, 2 feet more on with her weight. She's got it away. Certainly not an easy shot, but
looks quick, Billy.
Trying to drop now. You are right, Nick. Into the pit it goes. So it is 1 to Merrylands.
Well, Merrylands will be happy with that. There was a little bit of fortune there. Karen Murphy bumping that toucher into the pit. And the toucher, the jack, sat right alongside one another.
Already seeing here from Karen, even though she didn't get shot this last end, 2 almost very effective bowls. Okay, gets a slide edge in her first bowl off the run of that short bowl, but in the area, and then follows it up with an almost perfect shot just to promote her own up. So signs that she is finding form and range pretty early in this final.
Well, Karen Murphy and this whole Cabramatta trio have been in ominous form throughout. They rattled up a big score against West Tamworth the other day and looked very good in the semi-final.
Yeah, and it's certainly no disrespect to the West Tamworth side. It's just when you come across a good side in red-hot form, there's not much you can do about it.
No, well, they set themselves little goals after the game. They did say, we were aiming, that's once things sort of got away from them a little bit, well, let's get to 10. Let's prevent, Cabramatta from doing things. And they said the second half of the game, they were very proud, they said, we lost 14 to 8 or something.
Very respectable. Very respectable. And while it sometimes may not feel like it when you're experiencing it on the green, you have to sometimes just stand and applaud when your opposition are playing as well as we know these two sides can do.
So as we're saying, Jessie's just run past there. A little bit of a loose opening. I think coming this direction, the players seem to have found it harder to get their range.
Yeah, as we see Sharon Farrell there, great speed, but just holding out there. It's across all 3 greens. This forehand, or at least the left of screen, that hand, viewers, always been the tighter of the 2.
Well, we can see the Cherry Street flags, top left of picture there. They're waving with the easterly breeze that we see coming across. So breeze from right to left of screen, heading back towards the clubhouse. Yeah, Karen Murphy asking this one to steady. It's quite direct now, that hand, isn't it?
Yeah, just the slightest bit of late turn there from Jamie Lee Worsnop, but did not have to get that much out past that blue line, really. Sharon, I think she's too wide with this one. We'll just see it stick out there. So easy to do.
Well, I thought Ben Moorthorpe last night played the tight hand well. Once the wind and the weather came, the tight forehand coming in this direction, I thought it was a real difference maker, and we'll see, can one of these players have that role here?
Yeah, who's going to be the key player in this match? I mean, it's so easy to point to the skips, but I think even last night, Ben Moorthorpe, particularly in those early stages of the match, was just changing heads constantly with good weight on that tight line, as you said, Nick.
So as Katie Astley approaches the mat, she's confronted with what looks to be a relatively open head, but as we see, there's a lot of bowls that haven't got back to the centre line, so she'll have to be conscious of that.
Yeah, sometimes these heads can be just as difficult to play to. You're 3 down and what looks like heaps of room. The conditions are conducive to playing these shots with a lot of freedom. That being said, she's on a good line. Wants to get down to this shot. Well, again, half a bowl out from probably sitting that bowl for shot. As it is.
Well, Murphy taking a very direct line here. Largely a weight control exercise, but that's going to be under the line. A little quick.
Now, we'll keep saying this during the game. This is a pretty big bowl coming up. 3 down. Katie Astley only needs to make a minor correction, but easier said than done.
Yeah, we'll make Karen Murphy play it out if she's going to get a collect here, make Karen Murphy work for it. Katie Astley, the Merrylands product.
That looks a good line.
Yeah.
Fraction less weight too here.
That's a good correction there. That saves.
Well, if it's second shot, she's done incredibly well there. Good skipper's bowl.
Watch Karen Murphy now. She's just looking to draw down on the forehand. If she can get to Katie's bowl, that'd be great, but just draw it.
Just dead draw the shot, why don't you, Karen? Great bowl.
So 2 coming out now, and we'll see how good Katie Astley's last bowl was. So Billy Johnson going to step out here. I'm sure he'll find me another friend. So, well, Katie Astley probably saved 2 shots at least there. So 9-8 now. Now, you can see our hardy scoreboard attendant Vicky in the background there. She's got the raincoat. She's got the big brolly out there now. She had a flimsier umbrella, I'd suggest, as Lee Stinson drops in alongside me. Lee, good morning for the first time today to you.
Thanks very much, Nick. I've been elevated in job from camera wiper into the commentary position.
Well, you weren't super enthusiastic about going out to wipe those lenses, and I can understand why. It's a thankless task, but fortunately we have seen the rain has sort of eased off now. It's only a very gentle little spit here and there.
Yeah, the last 5 or 10 minutes, it's certainly, as you say, mate, got it quite a bit better. So players battling through. We know it's not comfortable, but the greens are still playable. The rain is very light at the moment, so we're ploughing on. Third of the way through.
As we see Sophie Payne.
One of my last trips inside, I've hoped to get you the link for the live scores for the other rinks. So fingers crossed that is now working. There we are. Perfect. So you can see those other games going through. Obviously, same stage as our feature game, all at the finals point.
Yeah.
And, of course, their last night's result going through Cabramatta, winning the men's triples. Jack Smith, Ben Moorthorpe and Aaron Wilson, 26-17 over Merrylands.
How was Disco looking this morning after his title? He hasn't gone out and played up like his nickname might suggest.
Well, I see the 3 gentlemen here just 5 or so metres across to our right, Nick, and it's fair to say in football terminology they're on Mad Monday. There's no dress-ups or anything like. They have come in Cabramatta uniform to cheer on their club mates.
Well, what a shot here.
Good luck. If I was the state champion, I'd probably enjoy a couple of refreshments too the next day.
Yeah, they've all got big cups of tea in front of them. What a great bowl there we see. Jamie Lee.
And despite being out and clearing a couple of cameras, Nick, I haven't seen a lot of the bowls. What's been the sort of progress throughout this game so far?
There was a big collect. There was a 4-shot collect for Merrylands early there when scores were level at 4-all. They got out to an 8-4 lead. And it's been somewhat back and forth since then. I think Katie Astley's played some telling bowls. Karen Murphy does look to be the one who could be the difference maker in this game, as you'd expect.
Gee, that's a big call, mate.
Well,
Nominated the 600 plus international as the one that could make the difference.
well, you know, somebody's got to make a big call here, and I've got the cojones to tell you all about it. But no, genuinely, her experience on some of the slower greens, Northern Hemisphere conditions, almost out here today. Although I think there'd be a few clubs in the Northern Hemisphere that would love to have a green that was running this good in the middle of summer.
Absolutely. A couple of ends ago when I was out doing some work with the cameras, I saw Sophie just take the jacket off. She felt like it was just being a bit restrictive in her movement, so she's going to brave conditions by the looks of it without the jacket. I think she'll have a big role to play. You can see the Cabra ladies choosing this longer length. If Sophie can get bowls up and around for her team, there'll be a chance. They don't want too many head set-ups the way we have here at the moment, where Cabra have got everything to play for in behind.
Well, and Karen Murphy, that just makes it even better.
Well, I think this should be quick, Nick. I don't think this is a try and cut down. This is a getting right through those shot bowls or the jack type scenario here. You can draw a good shot here and just spill the jack across to the right-hand side in amongst the Cabra bowls. So, a bit of weight off that one and onto the jack's a chance.
Well,
second shot, well played.
Got second shot, stuck the jack out in the open, and at the back of the rink there is a blue and white bowl belonging to Merrylands. So, potentially a positive draw up on the backhand with the next for Katie Astley. Look to sit out the green bowl, or she's a bit narrow, can get the jack through.
Yeah, Karen just trying to make things a bit tougher for her here by clearing these front ones. Well, it's just going to get out and around. It does get to the back, but Katie, a bit of freedom here. Her bowl pretty well protected on the backhand side. There might be a slight chance she could clip it out forehand, but like you said, Nick, can't be short of this. Just get up, try and sit the bowl or trail the jack. You make a couple either way.
Yeah, really can do it either hand, but Cody looks to be lining up to go pretty direct on the backhand here. Well, we saw Karen's didn't do much from that sort of line. Can Katie Astley have her bowl work under? Not quite. So one shot it will be, and we're locked up once again. 9 all, 9 ends. As the rain just, the droplets get a little bit fatter here, but the wind has eased. So that should be kind for Lee Stinson. Won't have to go and run around and clean all the cameras every few minutes.
We just had the local news crew here from NBN. Nick and I did mention to their team that on this occasion, I hope their weather forecaster has got things horribly wrong for today. Their 6 o'clock news weather presenter.
Well,
we are forecast to get somewhere between 30 and 70 mil of rain today, depending on which site you look at. As we see Jessie start off with a great opener. I think for the events point of view, right, it would be fantastic to get this triples match played. They've been obviously the final last game of this discipline. If things do turn bad this afternoon, there's always some scenarios we can work with the pairs not even starting yet. But at this stage, play is on. So if you are in the pairs and watching on this morning before heading to your venue, please ensure you're at your venue no later than 1:15. We'll start distributing scorecards, and the plan is for the opening to take place at 1:30 and have you out on the rinks no later than 1:40 to commence your trial ends. So we are watching on. Get to the venue in and around 1:15 p.m. at the latest. And at this stage, we are still on. Of course, we'll monitor local conditions at the venues. But, yeah, getting through this batch of finals from an event perspective this morning will be nice. However, if conditions don't allow us to, we'll suspend play and resume.
Well, that's all we can do, Lee, isn't it?
Eases up.
We'll just deal with it. Players will have to deal with it. We'll have to deal with it. We know it's not desirable, but everyone's come all this way, and I thought it was most complimentary. We heard, Sharon Farrell just wanted to be the other side of that front bowl. We saw Ben Twist was most complimentary after the mixed pairs. He said there's not many greens in the world, he reckoned, where we could have played after the drenching that the Northern Rivers has copped in the last month or so.
That's a pretty fair comment. Yeah, Saturday night especially, Nick, wasn't very pleasant at all.
It was like the ocean through a sieve.
We snuck through those 2 games on the Saturday evening. Sharon just getting caught up at the front there. So 2 amazing lead bowls there from Jessie Cottell. Set things up perfectly for her team. And I think Karen will be trying to count without making things any bigger. Wouldn't surprise if she stuck down to that backhand side around these front ones just to ensure there's no extra target. Yes. Just doing everything possible to try and dry these bowls. She's going to jump forehand. So,
what do you know? You haven't played 600 tests for Australia, have you?
Between us, I think we've played about 668 games for Australia between Karen and myself. Yeah. Just wants not to open things up. Well, she's got it well enough.
Well, holding a strong 3 at the moment. There is a bowl of Sophie Payne out to the right of screen there, which is, of course, being obscured by the Cabramatta players. But
the thing for Katie here, if she was planning to draw around the front before Karen's bowl, well, that same shot is still there. There is potential option for weight on the forehand, but if she trained her mind to play backhand before Karen's, well, that hasn't changed the situation. Can draw right up to the jack on this backhand side around the pack of bowls. But as you were saying, Nick, what were they? 8-4 in front, Merrylands. So a bit of a momentum shift happening at the moment in the favour of Cabra.
Yeah, and the one that Merrylands had picked up from then was a little bit unfortunate from Karen Murphy. She went and banged the shot bowl through, but it was a toucher and it went onto the jack and went straight back into the ditch. So Katie, it was a good effort to try to draw that.
Yeah, just looking out live, maybe half a metre, 2 foot short at the most.
And
Karen trying to beat her to the punch here.
Well,
not too much jack movement. Yeah, she's going to get to the bowls. Well, that's fine.
Done that beautifully. Left no target. And really, really hard to turn this around.
Time for Katie to make a decision here. Does she correct on the draw or fire one through her own on the forehand?
Yeah, that's the shot I like, Lee Stinson. I think the blue bowl of Katie Astley at the front, if she can get a big piece of it, can clatter things around and cut it down. But she set up backhand, so going to try to back herself to draw a second shot here.
At half a metre, 2 foot at the most. She was short of weight. First things first, needs to get around the front bowl. And from there, it's all down to weight. Looks a better line. That's the first part.
Well, around this.
So it's down to weight now.
Gets down to the shot. Well played.
Does kick it back to a Cabra bowl, but it has significantly reduced the count. Might just be a couple, I think. Nick, we'll just wait confirmation on our scoreboard.
Well, it was 4 down, and she spat the jack back. There was perhaps a little unfortunate. Could have quite easily just got the bowl clean. No jack movement.
Looks like just the one being indicated on the scoreboard.
Well, that's a big save there, Katie Astley.
Oh no, they're reviewing the board now, sorry. They have
Two
turned
shots.
It over to 2.
2 shots.
Skip's just confirmed with our rink attendant. Had 10-9 there for a little while. well done. All of those shots matter. You can reduce the count. Some other close games going on there. Across the rinks, of course, some slightly different formats being played in the triples. So our reserve, open reserve, and our senior women at 21 end fixtures. So if you are looking on at those scoreboards underneath, just keep that in mind. Open reserve, senior women at 21. And our senior men, and of course the game here on stream, as you can see, are 25 end games.
So the rain's just got a little bit heavier again. As we see Jessie Cottell slip under the line. You can see how she flicked her towel in disgust there. Sophie Payne. Big opportunity here. Jessie Cottell won't give you many. Clear road pass.
Pretty good speed too, I think, there from Sophie. So catches the front. Time for the seconds to show off their dead drawing skills.
Jamie Lee being given a warm round of applause there from Karen Murphy. Gets all the way down to the jack. Very good bowl.
It goes without saying you want to be first to the jack, but probably even more so in these conditions. It just really reduces that pressure valve by getting in first. You're probably going to have bowls that slip out of your hand or don't go exactly where you're hoping today. So being first in, as is the case on most greens, but today really can apply that pressure to the opposition.
It's extra important. Well, we see another good line here from Jamie Lee. Can she go the trip? She will. That makes it count. That's two biggies.
First and second in. How's that look?
Yeah, and the call from Katie is to be a little bit more direct here.
Be something similar to Katie's bowl in the opposite direction, Nick, isn't it? Look to sit some bowls or trail the jack.
Well, this looks a good line if she's got the pace here.
Gets past the front, it's a chance. Catches on the short one.
Now, I like that aggressive track though. She left us in no doubt of what the intentions were. Clear a couple out, open it up, break it up.
See where the Cabramatta plan is. Back right hand corner, bottom right of screen. The two shot bowls potentially could be removed without the jack going anywhere.
Just have a view of the rain there. It is steady, but hasn't got any lighter. Karen Murphy covering all the way around the back.
Cody's just been up, I think, potentially talking with their team coach, Cody Packer. Just having a look at options here. We'll see whether there is that 2 metre or so kind of weight or a lot firmer than that.
Well, he's been good. He's provided lots of good advice and encouragement for Katie Astley. Champion in his own right. Dominated Western Australian bowl scene for recent years before he's moved to Merrylands. And, well, can we see this get back down? Little piece off Sophie Payne. Well, can probably play a bit more aggressive into this now. Maybe get the jack going out to the left of screen.
Yeah, interesting to see where Karen finishes up here. Trying to draw another counter or even touch the jack a small amount herself. I think you're right though, Nick. This is a situation now where Katie needs to be conscious if she is playing just a couple of metres over on her forehand, that if she does collect the jack and her bowl stops on the blue of Jamie Lee's, then she's going to lose a bigger number than it currently is. I think this should be a firmer weight to bring in potentially the kill if you get the jack clean, or the front cannon just right of the jack may get the jack forward and left. Well, just going to slip under anyway. Potentially dangerous weight there, but 2 shots. We saw it was Jessie Cottell that set things up perfect for Cabra 2 ends ago. This time Jamie Lee with...
Well, this was
2
Jamie
terrific
Lee's
bowls.
second bowl. And that's what set it up, like you said, to be first in and second in. Mightily impressive.
Just looking at some other scores rolling through. Plenty of our regions represented this morning. So West Dubbo from Midwest, Albion Park from Illawarra, Yamba in the Northern Rivers, and Lake Cattaway in the Mid-North Coast, and Bowral in the Payne Highlanders and Belrose in Metro Northeast. So with our 8 teams there this morning, we've got 8 different regions represented.
Is there anyone who you're cheering for specifically in these pairs finals, Lee? Anyone from perhaps the southeast or mid-north coast left in the competition?
Not necessarily. I guess I currently play out of the Illawarra, so we have a team there, and my former bowling area and still current home is in Midwest. So those two playing against each other, I can't really go wrong there. We'll get a win in that game, one way or the other.
Yeah, no, great to see all the regions being represented here. As Elphick Jr. comes across to discuss the plans for our rinks for the rest of the day. And Sophie's corrected. When we're seeing that hand, it's still got some great finish with the wind. Jamie Lee just dropping a little bit short, but Jessie Cottell has... Jessie Cottell's been very good up front. Sharon Farrell turned her back very early on that bowl, perhaps slipping out. And Karen Murphy saying, I'd like you to finish a foot behind and don't cross the line, please. Well, finish behind, hasn't crossed the line. And Sharon Farrell out in the high line. We are still seeing good draw on this backhand, coming back towards the clubhouse. Perhaps a little bit optimistic out there. Players cross over. A couple. Couple of shots currently to Jessie Cottell. Still open on this wider drawing hand. Karen Murphy, well, that might be in the argument. I'm having a look over my right shoulder here from the control position. I think Sophie Payne is still in for third shot. Seen Katie, who's really backed herself on this backhand draw. Well, that's out on a high line. And looks to be perhaps a little bit underweight, yes. So Karen Murphy questioning Her second, Jamie Lee Worsnop. What's the go here? And inside the white. Here a chance for another counter. You're in, Karen Murphy. You're in with number 1. What a bowl. What a bowler. And in these conditions, she's just showing that she's still one of the elite of the elite. Katie Astley now being asked to play the forehand, which is tight. Just resets. Big bowl of favour. She's down at least 3. Well, wants to get going now. Even get to the edge of Sophie. Oh, good wait for the shot. But just unforgiving on that leeward hand. 3 out. No, 2 out, and then that one from Murphy at the back, not in the discussion. Our scoreboard attendant quickly onto it. You see at the top of the picture there. She's seen 2 have come out already. And 2 was all. Vicky, she's got good eyes from down there, clearly. You see Vicky Maxwell up there with Karen Murphy. Karen asked me specifically to give her a rap for what she's doing, and I'm more than happy to do so. Our volunteers here at this event have been nothing short of absolutely sensational. Can't do these things without them. And as the rain does intensify, 18 mils overnight was the indication from Duncan before we got the stream underway. 18 mils overnight. Well, that's no worry for Jessie Cottell. She's nailed this pretty well early. Sophie Payne. Oh, she's got a good one away here too. Usable. Gave the bowler a good chance. Jessie now. This looks to be a tighter line. We're seeing it holding. That breeze gusting as Katie Astley said, you're allowed to be into that now. So, nice piece of weight there from Sophie Payne. She's trying really hard. You can see this is important to be a young star that she is in the state final. Conditions just worsening again a little bit. Getting pretty damp here. Well, Sophie Farrell, can she get down? Sharon Farrell, sorry. Can she get down there? Couldn't quite. Well, Jamie Lee being asked to get past now. Well, flops down. Likely 3 here. Sharon Farrell being asked just contact through that head. They've got a good catcher. And a second good catcher at the back of the rink there. You can see just next to Jamie Lee's right foot there. That's a Merrylands bowl. Oh, wow. I feel that one might have slipped out. So, at 15 shots to 9. 12 ends in where pretty well is happy halfway. I think Merrylands, they're going to stay in this contest. They're going to need to win an end here shortly. They do have a chance. To make a few at the back of the rink there. As I'm welcomed for the first time in this event by State Match Committee Representative Billy Mast. Billy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Nick. Well, I can't say it is a good morning, actually, but it is morning still, and the players seem to be treating it like any other day, actually.
Well, it's a good morning in the fact that we still have bowls being played, and we have two fantastic teams out here playing. Karen Murphy, that's a great cover shot. Takes away the freedom of Katie Astley to play sort of whatever weight she chooses. And we've seen here that Cabramatta holding, my favourite is 3 shots, but this blue bowl at the bottom of the picture is a Merrylands bowl, so a chance for Jack to get sprung back. So, Billy Mast, you've been here at the venue since bright and early this morning. You've got your heavy raincoat on.
I've got the raincoat on, indeed. There's plenty of blowing rain around, although right at the moment the wind's actually settled just a little. It's been a bit blustery at times, and I think that's been reflected in the bowls at times where people are getting the line some ends and then all of a sudden things are off, but that would just be reflecting. At the moment you can see in the background there that the corner flag is fairly calm, but it has been doing a few circuits along the way, so I think the wind has come into play at times. Looking at Jessie Cottell's bowls down the line there, though, you wouldn't think that the wind was having any effect on anything.
Well, you could see there, Katie, I thought she had that pointed pretty well out of the hand, but perhaps didn't time a gust.
I think
Because
Katie...
the bowl did push out as it went down the rink.
Katie in particular, I don't know whether it's the way she delivers it out of the hand or the bowl, but she in particular does seem to be being caught out by that side where it is hanging out both directions a bit, which you'd think when it sets off a lot of the time that it looks pretty great, but those bowls are just sticking out there.
Yeah, the leeward hand has been tricky to play. The windward, a little bit more faith in that. But I think for Katie, she needs to just try again here. I don't see a way to draw it, but there is a chance to get shot and potentially a 2 here with contact through the front. So based on what the last one did, I expect she'll be going more or less straight up the line here.
Well, she's certainly got it away nicely for that.
Well, and that one did get away. Can she get a result off Sophie? Well, that's the one that she didn't want to clear out.
It is,
It
indeed.
will be 4 now to Cabramatta and out to 19-9. Well, you can certainly forgive Katie Astley for playing that tighter line after the first bowl hung.
You can, and it did look pretty good out of the hand, but she just tightened it up that bit too much after the experience of the first one hanging out. I see looking across the green that the Belrose team down the far end have got themselves up to 7-all at the moment after making a slow start down there.
You wouldn't have a favourite in that match by any chance,
no,
would you, Billy
I
Mars?
couldn't be heard to be saying that at all. I'm just interested when I see people who haven't got off to a very good start. Nick's making the dig. That is my home club, so I am not supporting them today. I am supporting everybody quite equally and have done through things. The Farrell boys were asking yesterday whether I had any vested interest in the outcome of there. I'm saying, mate, just get out there and play good bowls. I have to say on the Farrell team, though, the lead, Stephen Della's been playing some beautiful bowls up at Alstonville in the first 3 rounds of the sectional play, and then in the semi-final yesterday afternoon I've been up there at Alstonville, so I've been able to see how the senior men have gone right throughout, and I've been very impressed with the way Stephen Della has played lead. So the Belrose supporters yesterday were watching him saying, crikey, if we get through, is that what we're going to have to play tomorrow? So certainly they knew they were going to be up for a challenge today.
Yeah, Stephen Della has been a long time great servant to the bowling club in Bowral and the bowls community in the Southern Highlands. Had the pleasure of working with him in my previous role with Bowls Australia, and some of the great initiatives that Barra Bowling Club put on to really engage their community.
He's certainly very enthusiastic about it. Is he the president of the new Nepean Highlanders region? I think it's president that he's taken on there.
He's certainly, he's had lots of involvement both at club, zone, district, region level, as we see.
Oh, that's a nice bowl coming in.
Well, Karen Murphy's identified that they can play this tighter forehand, and it's pretty direct. Need to be under the green and gold bowl of Jessie Cottell. Give it a chance. This looks like the sort of track to be doing some damage here. Perhaps a little bit too firm from Sharon Farrell. Yeah, picked up out of the ditch. We can hear, hopefully you can hear in your televisions at home, viewers, that there's some rain on a tin roof here above us, and it's just got a little bit noisier once again.
Nick, I think I've picked the right time to be over here with you in commentary and leave Lee to work out what to do about the weather.
So Sharon, she's just reduced the weight a little bit but maintained a similar line. That was much better weight. Yes, I think, look, that one of the challenges with our sport, it's hard to please everybody, and particularly when we have wet weather, it's very, very rare that we're going to get an outcome that's satisfactory to all competitors, but we need to get this event to a conclusion, and we're going to do our very best to allow all matches to be completed in full.
Well, the conditions have been certainly unpleasant over the period of the championship so far, but the greens are playing absolutely magnificently. So I think that if you got any indication that the standard of play was down because of the weather, that factor would come into it a bit. But right through the mixed pairs, through the all abilities, through the mixed pairs when the weather was atrocious on Saturday, and today, the standard of play is magnificent. So the players are getting on with it, persevering. They're dealing with it in different ways, obviously, in terms of what amount of coats, jackets or something they've got on, although I think today, unlike the mixed pairs day, I think today, looking down the green, everybody has a coat on, because in the mixed pairs they were just out there in shirts. Oh no, Steve Glidden down the far end, still persevering just in a shirt. However, his shirt is probably so wet at the moment that there wouldn't be much use putting a coat on, but the rest of them, at least today, obviously came prepared for the weather.
Well, Sophie Payne, the Merrylands lead, she came prepared for the weather, but she did remove her raincoat.
She did for a bit.
And it's still off.
Is it still off?
Yeah.
Is she hiding behind a post from me?
Yeah, no, she's...
Still off? Oh, no, but she's standing under cover. There you go.
She's hiding. And I don't blame her for that. But, yeah, clearly felt it was just restricting her movement slightly. And those little 1%ers are very important in games like this, as we see Katie Astley looking to reach on this tight hand. Can she grab the jack and take it back? She has. Well done.
She's got a very good result there this time. Well, with the coats, it can be a distraction, and if players aren't comfortable with it, it's just enough to throw the way they're getting on with the game. That little niggle about they'd feel better without that coat on, and so although some players don't want to be that wet, I can understand that if it just gets into your mind a bit about you're not playing with the freedom that you normally would, that perhaps you're better off to just tough it out in the rain.
Well, that's a rare miss from Karen Murphy.
Very uncharacteristic.
These conditions, they are showing themselves to be very challenging, but we saw Katie Astley. She's got the jack to the back of the rink, is holding two, and has couple of metres to draw for a third here. Important time in this match. If she can get past the front green and gold, she'll be in the count. It's not going to do it, so 2 shots it is to Merrylands. 19-11 now, an important collect there and a big bowl from Katie Astley. We'll have a look at that one in the running once again. So this is what set things up for Merrylands here. Katie Astley, tight line on the forehand, chance to sit bowl or get the jack back, and the jack was the best result there. Created 2 shots. And now back live. Well, this rain has got heavier again.
It looks actually at the moment as though if it gets worse than this, we could be in for an interruption, although looking out across the green, no real sign of the water rising on the green at this point. The greenkeeper made a good choice moving away from the green that had been intended to be used today because it has got some slicks of water on it.
Yes, so we see I just gave a shot of one of the fans walking through. A little bit of pooling on the path, but for now, these greens have been remarkable, absorbing all this moisture and continuing to allow play to a high standard as Sophie Payne. Well, this is a timely bowl from her. Well done.
Well, it is a tribute to Duncan, the greenkeeper, and his staff, because he's looking after the greens at all of the venues. And up at Alstonville, the players were all commenting on what lovely surfaces they were to play on. I think people were expecting, after the amount of rain leading up to the start of play up at Alstonville a couple of days ago, they were thinking that the greens would be heavier or not so much to their liking. And the comments from the players coming off the greens after the first round was that everybody was really impressed with what they'd been given to play on, especially in the circumstances of the wet weather. So I think certainly they take the greens seriously, and it is about the greens. Players definitely respond to the feeling of putting a bowl down on a really nice playing green.
Well, we saw a great response there from Jessie Cottell. Sophie Payne found a nice groove there, and her opponent, Jessie Cottell, said, "No, I'm not going to let you have that, youngster." Remarkable talking about Jessie Cottell as one of the senior players out here on this rink.
I know, you think, how did that happen? 1 minute she's the youngster, and...
Well, she still is, but of course,
exactly.
You know, such a youthful trio from Merrylands, and making the very youthful Cabramatta trio look like dinosaurs.
Well, it's interesting talking to a few spectators on the sidelines over the last few days, people who have come along because they've got relatives who've come up to support teams or whatever, people who have come down from the Gold Coast saying, "I've just come down for the day to have a bit of a look," and see, and they said, "Oh, but it's an old people play bowls," and I'm saying, no, it's a young person's sport, but old people are also allowed to play. I think that's about right. When you look at the top end of the sport in Australia, certainly it's very much a young person's sport, and it's certainly nice to see them get in the sport and do so well, because I think some of the youngsters take it up and then find that too many of their mates think that it's an old person's sport and the pressure gets to them a bit. But those who stick with it certainly taken the sport to new levels.
Well, speaking of visitors from the Gold Coast, I did see one Aaron Sheriff here last night watching the action, so he made the little trip down, and there's not too many that the game has seen better than him as we watch Katie Astley. Well, this is a very good attempt there. Might have second and third now. And the call from Jamie Lee, just draw us another one on the forehand. Little jack movement sideways even would be okay.
Karen's got a good looking line coming in on this.
Well, she's Karen Murphy, of course she does. Well done,
There she went.
Karen Murphy. So, what that does set up, though, is a chance for a little spring of the jack. That is Sophie Payne catching as Katie Astley comes for a stroll up the rink to say, what's going on there? As the skies are just getting a little bit brighter now. Billy, I know I'm talking hopefully perhaps, but a little bit brighter. I feel as though the droplets aren't quite so heavy.
Well, it's definitely less noisy than it was, Nick, with this tin roof above our heads and looking out at the path going down through where it really is pooling water through the concrete walkway. It's definitely not bouncing up as much as it was before. It was pretty wild a few minutes ago, but see the greenkeepers out, checking on the greens, checking on the state of everything. They'll keep everything going as best they can, ready for an afternoon start with the pairs coming up. We've all got our fingers crossed that we will get that far today. I think that the priority at the moment is that we get the triples finals finished up, and then, although the forecast is for pretty poor later in the day, if we can get started on the pairs, good, and if not, well, we'll just have to deal with that when we get to it. But the greens certainly at this point look like they'll be still very fit to play.
So 2 shots it was in the end there. Katie Astley couldn't convert. As we see, this was the bowl that set it up here from Karen Murphy. You can see here she was able to draw down, get a little touch on the jack, tuck it in behind, and as I say, she's Karen Murphy. Of course that's what she's going to do.
She does it pretty reliably. Right from the start of the game today, Karen definitely had the line and length for the conditions.
Well, I'm seeing something remarkable over the top of our monitors here for the very first time this week, I reckon. I'm going to get you the picture. For the very first time this week, he's gone and hidden behind a pole, of course he has. Greenkeeper Elphick in a raincoat. He's been out there. He must have a dozen shirts in the shed.
They'll be hanging out the back there somewhere. There he goes in his coat. But he hasn't got the hood up, Nick.
Greenkeeper Elphick, he's got the raincoat on for the first time. As Jessie just runs up a little bit short.
Just left an opportunity there for Sophie.
Well, this is the wider hand. And he'll certainly get back. Got a touch. Sophie gutses that jack. Would have been very clever. Jamie Lee now. With 10 shots the margin, 10 to play. You feel as though Cabramatta can really take this game away from Merrylands in the next couple of ends here. If they can get a few good collects, Merrylands are going to have to chase. And against players of this calibre, scoring multiples is never easy.
The game with the senior women, it's just gone off the screen, but Lake Cat Eye have got themselves out to a very nice lead in the senior women's game at the moment.
Yes.
The others are tight though. That reserves game, only one in it, and I think the senior men's is still very close on the scoreboard, but that Lake Cat Eye score has blown out a bit.
Yes, so 16-5, Lake Cat Eye lead. As we see here, this is a great correction from Sharon Farrell. Beautifully done.
That's got a smile on Sharon's face. Sharon's mum, Kerry, down there sounding very pleased with that as well.
Well, rightly so. Watching the replay. Front touches, as we see.
That's a great smile.
And a big smile there. Great to see. I really appreciate being able to bring you all these great pictures here and the expressions on the faces of the players as they play the sport that they love and that we love. Wherever you're watching around Australia and around the world, Nick Hind and Billy Mars with you here from Cherry Street Sports. It's the 2025 TAB State Championships. We're watching Karen Murphy look to get shot back. Well, while Merrylands are holding right now, it's a very lonely looking one. And if you're Katie Astley, you really need to give it some protection somehow.
She's taken a good line for that, Nick. How's the weight there?
Well, she sneaks past and under. This is going to be very, very good. If that second shot is... Oh, my favourite is too, looking over my right shoulder. Let's see what option Karen Murphy chooses to take. A little bit more weight. Oh, is it? No.
I think she's going to duck under the front again.
Still seeing with the wind pushing those bowls across there, there's plenty of turn. And for Katie, well, rinse and repeat here and pick yourself up a 3. Well, this rain is getting heavy now.
The rain's got heavier and the wind's really picked up just in the last moments as well. That's why Katie's floated it out a bit wider, allowing for that extra gust of wind. She's come back a fair way.
Well, we'll have an assessment here. The seconds. 2 come out very quickly. And then there might be an argument here. And it is 3, so well done. Some great skips bowls there from Katie Astley.
I'm enjoying watching Katie play skip in this game. I haven't had a chance to watch her skipping before. She did a lovely job up front in the mixed pairs playing with Cody Packer. So
we're going to see Merrylands get together for a little mid-pitch conference here. We're going to be talking tactics. How do we overcome this 7-shot deficit? So young Katie Astley, even younger Sophie Payne, and the veteran of the team, would you believe, Sharon Farrell.
When I first encountered Sharon around bowls, Sharon was probably the age that, well, maybe not Sophie, but certainly younger than probably that Katie is now. So certainly that sort of thing. And as you say, now she's the veteran of the team. Comes from a family of very passionate bowlers, Sharon Farrell.
The Merrylands Club supports these girls beautifully with plenty of resources and plenty of support.
Well, they've got Cody Packer on the sidelines as signed in as their coach today.
Correct, yes.
And Cody's had a few opportunities there to just be talking to Sophie. I've been watching earlier on, just trying to keep Sophie a bit settled down into the final in such poor conditions. I think just it was looking more just like words of settlement and getting her to just accept that this is how it is. It's a very big moment for them, and you wouldn't have wished for such weather. However, they've certainly kept themselves in it. Looking at it now, after 16 ends of play, 7 adrift, it's not undoable by any means.
No, and I feel Katie Astley brings some real calmness and composure to this team.
She's got a lovely manner on the green.
You know, I've complimented her throughout the mixed pairs and here in the triples as to how she conducts herself. Of course, she was playing with Katie Packer in the mixed pairs and missed out on a final from that bowl from Ben Twist.
That bowl, but the game itself looked like a final throughout. Yes, it came to a very dramatic finish with that particularly special bowl that Ben Twist pulled out at the end, but all the way through it was a very, very good contest. And you couldn't imagine that the final was going to turn out to be such a good contest, because sometimes when you've seen such a spectacular game in a semi, when you get as far as the final, it's just not quite got the same feeling to it, but the final went down to just the same wire. Very good standard of play in that mixed pairs event. I think when the mixed pairs started, when Women's Bowls New South Wales introduced it first, going back a lot of years now, I don't think it was regarded as being such a high-grade event as it is now. It's certainly grown as time's gone on.
And we've seen some remarkable results at Nationals too. You know, I think players around the country have recognised that this is now a fair income state title.
Absolutely.
And a national title that's worth competing for. We see record fields every year. We see stronger and stronger combinations, and we see a great bowl there from Jamie Lee Worsnop. I'd like to give a shout out to my former president from Bowls ACT, Matt Stiles, who was of course champion gold medalist with Director Gail Young a few years ago. They had a remarkable campaign through their section. They were 3 wins plus 3.
Yes. You sort of almost think that's not really possible, that you could win, but only win by 1, game after game after game.
And yeah, won a final on a Magic Bowl in conditions not too dissimilar to this at Broadbeach Bowling Club, but we're here at Cherry Street Sports and seeing the weather that we didn't want today.
Well, we certainly didn't, and looking at the green that the players were originally scheduled to be on this morning, it's definitely building up a bit of water out there now.
Yeah, greenkeeper Elphicky's made the correct call, Dunkey, to switch players over. Karen Murphy looked a little bit quizzical when I told her, no, you're over there. But I think all the players and spectators will be understanding that after 8 days of play already, that the greens do need to be just nursed through perhaps when the weather's suboptimal is the nice way that I've been saying it this morning.
Well, and it's not just a matter of nursing them through, because when you look at the water that's building up at the clubhouse end on the second green here, where they would have been, it wouldn't have been very pleasant playing if you were playing down full length there into the water areas, or if they were trying to put the mat back and deliver into those areas. Yes, it wouldn't be good for the green, but it wouldn't be very good for the bowls either.
Exactly right. Feeling as we see on our camera there, just how the conditions have deteriorated. As Katie Astley, I can see what the intent was there. Just make some contact through the front. Merrylands do have bowls at the back of the rink, and Karen Murphy, looking to defend against that, can promote. Jessie Cottell parking on the centre line. Well, it's probably going to be a nuisance.
It is definitely a nuisance. I think she would possibly have wished to promote Jessie's bowl, but she's caused a few further issues for Katie coming down there now.
So Katie emerging from under the eaves. The challenge here is almost needs to sort of rake up through the middle of the head. I know it's not a comment that's complimentary, but in this situation, if she's going to get shot, might have to come fairly direct. So this is what is facing Katie Astley at the moment.
Well, she hasn't really got anything to work in off. So as you say, I think she is going to have to try and come right up through. If you could get onto Jessie's and knock that through up to the jack, she might get a good outcome out of there.
Yes, I see what you're saying, Billy Mars. So potentially the green and gold bowl up through the jack and the jack back to the white and pale blue bowl of Sharon Farrell sitting just behind the tee there. I think that's perhaps the best way of doing it, but equally, well, you can't really be taking one down. No, she's going to have a moment to dry her bowl, consider.
I've been interested watching Jamie Lee along the way, because she's very seldom looked to try and dry a bowl. She's just picking up the bowl and working with the moisture on her hands and the moisture on the bowl, and it's been working for her.
Well, wet bowl, wet hand has often been a call, as we see Katie, so she's going to look up the backhand. Now, we've seen with the way the wind has been that this is a very fiddly line. Well, chance for a result here off the 2 there. Well, she's got a couple out that may not have been in the count. she's done, though, is she's opened a port for Karen Murphy to draw this.
Karen's got a lot of room now for second shot in there.
But as we see,
Well, has she come back enough?
hung out high.
I wouldn't really think so.
No, one
No.
shot only. So 22-14, 17 ends completed. We have 8 scheduled ends to go. Karen Murphy, she was standing like a statue at the top of the stencil there on the green, saying this is where I want the jack. And, well, you can forgive Jessie Cottell for not getting it there in these conditions. The green is getting noticeably heavier as the game continues.
I think it's just eased up a fraction now from what it was through the playing of that end, but there would have been quite a lot more moisture onto the green since the jack was last rolled. It's probably not surprising that it didn't go quite as far as Jess was hoping for. However, she's made a reasonable effort with the first bowl there.
So, Jessie Cottell. If you see Karen Murphy wringing out her towel there. Bottom right of screen. We'll clip that up for a replay. We might bring you that again. That really demonstrates exactly what the players are facing here. And even a little bit cool today, 21 only. Well,
Here comes a
Sophie
good bowl.
sneaks past, gets in for shot. We'll just have a look here on the replay. So as Jessie Cottell delivers the ball, you can see on the right-hand side of the screen there, Karen Murphy wringing out her towel. Sophie Payne, she's drawn shot, and yeah, rain is easing. Sophie walking down, she's played her bowl, she's going to go and hide out under the eaves here, and I think very sensible. I'm sure these players have brought a change of uniform or a change of shirt for after the game.
You can't see from where you're standing, Nick, but there's a distinct amount of washing or drying hanging on the rails where the ramp comes up into the main clubhouse. The players are all using it for the cloths that they're not using at the particular moment, and I don't think there's a space left on that railing at the moment. There's a fair washing line of it going on, and they're hoping that in the wind flapping around that the cloths will just get a little bit dried out in between, and they're often between the ends just popping off and putting one cloth down and getting another one and hoping that it's a bit better. There's some of it.
There it is, the washing line, as Billy Mars is called. Yeah, players doing what they can to manage these conditions. It is trying, it is troubling, but it is the state finals, and this is the final of the women's triples here. It's the 2025 TAB State Championships here from Cherry Street Sport in Ballina. Nick Hind and Billy Mars are here with you as Merrylands chasing an 8-shot deficit. They've been game so far, you'd say, Billy, against this all-star trio from Cabramatta.
It is an all-star trio, but in the games that have been played against them through the sectional play, most of those games people have been making a really good job of getting out there and trying to put aside in their minds the idea that they're players of the calibre that they are. And if people, I think you see people who've got a bit of confidence in their own game, and we all know it's on the day. You hear bowlers say that, well, it's all on the day. And you think, well, yes, but some of them have just got far more skill than others. But you can see some people really dig out their absolute best bowls to play when they're put up against the top players. And I think that's the thrill of it. Oh, this is a good bowl coming in.
Well, Karen
Yes.
Murphy, ping.
You still see some players who really give it a red-hot go, And they might not have if they were playing against people that they didn't regard as being such incredibly good players. But you put people up against them and they'll really focus hard. If they could take a lesson out of that some of the rest of the time and put that same focus in, it'd be really great. But you do find people come away saying they were really satisfied. They might not have won, but they feel really happy with the way they've been able to just lift their game.
Well, you often get told to play the bowl, not the bowler. So, see here, Karen Murphy, she's just rattled things around a bit. I don't actually know whether she's done enough to get shot there. I've got up on my tippy toes. And hard to tell, and this one may even be in the air, particularly if it falls over.
Very nicely weighted, but that's just that side of the rink that Katie is just not able to keep the bowls in.
Well, Karen likes
Yes,
this. She's
right.
chasing it. She puts her nose on it. It'll be 3. Well, from our vantage point, that looks to be number 1. And now if you're Katie Astley, very hard to draw it on the forehand. But she can't really afford to play with weight. There is a Merrylands bowl at the back of the rink. No, it isn't. No, that's a Jamie Lee Worsnop bowl. So, perfect draw weight required here. Perfect draw weight required. Perfect draw weight almost delivered. Well, it's a great effort. Very creditable, and only one shot to Cabramatta. So 23 shots Cabramatta, 14. 9 shots the difference. 7 ends now to play. I'm hopeful to flag down Lee Stinson or one of our great volunteers here. I might need to go and give that lens another tune up on our centre camera, because those last squalls have really impacted.
Certainly the wind has been pushing the rain around over there. I see also the scoreboard attendant. Is that Vicky who's down there
Yes,
on the
Vicky.
scoreboard? I see she's worn out one umbrella and she's up to another bigger one by now. So I think I was looking around, I was about to comment on the sterling job she's doing over there standing out in the weather, but I realised that she's had to try and get some slightly better protection as well. Get an umbrella that was perhaps a bit sturdier. I think the wind might have taken a toll on the one that she started the game with. They've been doing a great job, all the volunteers on the sidelines, and I don't think that if you haven't been at one of these big events, I don't think people would really appreciate just how many people it takes to run this sort of thing and keep it running smoothly. Yes, it could probably run with fewer people, but it would be a vastly different experience, and the players have been commenting at the 2 venues that I've been at so far. I'm over to Lennox Head in another day or 2 for a couple of days over there as well, but the players at the venues I've been at have all been coming in saying how nicely it's being run and what a great time they're having. So that's, I think, a tribute to the people organising up here in the Ballina region, that people are putting up with rubbishy looking conditions at times but still actually appreciating the whole experience. Yeah, we've got that lens just with a few blank spots on it at the moment. It's just hard to watch the bowl come in.
Yeah, just a few spits just sneaking in under our umbrellas. The one in the centre of the rink's been the one that's caused me a little bit more angst, though, because very hard to get the umbrella to protect that with the direction the wind's blowing. Elphick Jr. got out there to maximise the coverage of the brolly, but that breeze, so when it gusts up, causes some issues. So as we see, Sophie Payne holding 1. Jamie Lee. Well, you can see the girls like this line very early, and you can see why they like it very early. She's absolutely drawn it cold. Well done, Jamie Lee. And for Sharon Farrell, needs to go to school on that last track. Just hung it out a little wide. Now as the players cross over, Billy, I need to tell you about something here. Are you ready for a holiday? Because I am. This has been a big campaign, so if you're ready for a holiday, discover more with AAT Kings. Whether you're admiring natural wonders or embracing local connections, with AAT Kings expertly crafted tours, there's always something new to explore, as you will be in the hand of experts. Get up to $1,800 in air credit per couple on selected tours, plus save an additional 5% with your exclusive Bowls New South Wales discount. Visit aatkings.com or click the link in the caption below. Book before the 17th of April and use promo code BowlsNSW. T's and C's do apply.
Well, that sounds good to me, Nick, and I was enjoying looking at the little piece of
Graphic there, yeah.
and the graphic behind, thinking, in fact, I wonder whether it's raining out at Uluru today, because that looks like a good offer to me. I think I could very much cope with going out there.
Well, while we've seen that, we've also seen Karen Murphy get one close. If it's raining on the rock, that great John Williamson song.
It's spectacular when it does rain on that rock.
Well, Katie, I'll see how well this one can get down.
Maybe just the weight of it a tad much.
Just
Beautiful
sliding
effort
past.
there, though.
She's played very commendably here today in these trying conditions.
Karen's got a very nicely pointed bowl again coming in here. If she doesn't spring the jack. Oh, that's
Well,
beautiful bowling.
That's Karen Murphy at her vintage best.
Certainly didn't make Katie's job any easier now to get onto there, because if she springs it a bit too hard, it looks like it'll just come straight back down the line. The arrangement of it there, it's more likely to come down the line to Jessie's bowl at the back.
Yeah, and any contact on the green, there's a little snake has formed there and might push that bowl of Sophie's out as well. So really fraught with danger. Perhaps the best you can hope for is a double toucher here, and we'll split the points. It can be 0-0. Well, slip past. 2 shots it'll be to Cabramatta. And now
Katie really didn't have much to work with.
No,
as you
there
said,
was
if
nothing
she
there.
did push onto those 2 bowls by the jack, Sophie's was just as likely to have knocked off out to the side further, and she'd have gone down more than it was. So didn't have the back in quite the right position and didn't give her a lot to work with.
So with now 6 ends to play, the margin is 11. You feel if Merrylands are going to mount a comeback, has to start here.
Well, I think you're right, Nick. It was a couple of ends ago, it was sort of looking in the still doable category, but just those extra 3 shots they've picked up over those last couple of ends, it's just pushed it into different territory now.
Well, 2 and over becomes very tricky. Josh Wilton asking, has a club ever done a men's triples and a women's triples champion? Well, our viewers are often our best researchers, so if you know the answer to that, do let me know. I can't remember one in recent years. But Cabramatta, given the strength of their club, they'd be likely to be one who may have achieved it in the past.
There are certainly clubs around where it could well happen. There's quite a lot of the clubs have got very strong both men's and women's players in them. And of course these days with the Open and the Open Gender pennants, the Platinum pennant leg, we're getting them mixed around together as well. But certainly you would think that at some point or another, going back over the period that Cabra or St John's Park, definitely some clubs around, maybe even Tarrant Point at various points would have had somebody who could have been. Even a club like mine with Belrose have had people who have been champions. I'm not sure about singles champions, certainly pairs champions and singles maybe at the same time, but the double of men's and women's in the one category, I'm sure that somebody will come up with an answer for us, Nick, because there are plenty of people who definitely know these sorts of things.
Well, you see Karen Murphy very, very engaged with that bowl as it was running down the rink, urging it to get down. That is shot. I feel as though Cabramatta believe that they can take this game away and really put it out of reach of Merrylands on this end. If they can get a good collect here, you see Sharon Farrell. That was good positive weight.
It was very nice weight for what she was trying to do, but once again, it's just that side of the rink where the wind is pushing things away. Quite hard to just keep them tightened up enough without getting drawn into playing too much weight at it.
So thank you to Lee Stinson. He's just given our camera a tune up in the middle of the rink there, and he's having a discussion with Jamie Lee about whether she can see anything through her glasses.
He's gone off to wipe up the glasses as well as the lenses, I think, on the camera. So it is tough when you play with glasses in conditions like this because the wind is really pushing the rain around. The cap will do a good job over the glasses without that wind, but the wind's definitely proving tricky.
Well, yeah, so Lee's just saying Andrew Lynn would definitely know whether a club's done the double of men's and women's triples champion. And we've seen there what Karen's done, she's turned down the shot bowl and it gets in the road of any promotion you feel of Sophie Payne. So Katie going to have to draw this one cold. Well, she's only 2 bowls short of getting in the count.
Karen did do a very good job with putting that bowl into a spot that made it quite tough for Katie. It was a nice enough looking shot where it is, but Karen moved it into a far better position.
And Karen Murphy
tuck it round the corner.
Well, you see how vocal she gets. Where do Merrylands get a result here? They've only got one bowl. Really, that's usable. Behind the jack.
She really at this point needs it to go straight down the line. No deviation. If it could follow the centre line down.
Well, it's the white and blue. Well, they do have two. They've got Sophie Payne at the very back there. But I think it's very, very hard, as you see on the left-hand side of your screen there. The towel's getting wrung out again from Karen.
Well, I don't think that Katie can bring Sharon Farrell's back bowl there into it. The jack would have to go on a very precise angle to get there and not end up right on top of Jessie's bowl at the same time. So just trying to look at the angle to see could the jack come straight back down and keep that back bowl of Sophie's in as the shot. But it would be hard to make more than one out of it, even if she could do that.
Yeah.
You really need a multiple at this point, and there's certainly nowhere on that head that she's going to be able to create that I can see.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. So, at least it's going back furiously through the archives to see if there's ever been a club claim the men's and the women's triples championship in the same year. I feel back in the depths of time, there must have been a time where it could have happened. As we hear, the size of the raindrops does intensify once again.
Well, you can see on the screen the way the rain's just picked up. While Katie's been watching this, the rain is certainly coming down Well, the Vengeance, what are we up to? Played 19, finishing up the 20th. I think they'll all be hoping that we can get it in. Nobody wants to have to stop and then come back out later. That's good. I've talked it into it, Nick. You can just hear that ease a fraction.
Just eased off, yes.
That'll be good.
So it does look a little brighter now. But this rain persistent. So, Katie Astley, what's the plan here?
She's going to punch into it one way or the other, but
very quick on the backhand. Wow, that hand really did move. And I feel it's going to be two more.
I think you can see why. You can just see that rain really pick up again, and the wind, after she delivered it, the wind really came through quite strongly.
Not back to 80.
So at least Stinson says he's gone through the records, and as far back as we've got online, which is 1980, so at no stage in the last 44 years has the same club been the champion in both the men's and the women's triples. Cabramatta could be looking at a first here, and really with a 13-shot lead with 5 to go, for Merrylands they're going to have to pull something miraculous out here, Billy Mars, if they're going to.
They are, but certainly at the
claim the
moment,
title.
you think
Well,
that if the rain intervenes, you never know, because the momentum could then change. The rain's certainly just now, you can see on the screen there it coming down off the edge where the camera is. Rain's certainly picked up.
Sophie, she's played a great bowl there. That was just, rain just intensified briefly. That was about as hard as it's come down all game. The players gamely. They're not looking around for an official to come and pull them off, are they, Billy?
They're not. I was watching, the same thing happened in the mixed pairs the other night when I was out at the top of the stairs there as the controlling body, and I had my antenna very much up for the sign of any kind of agitation from the players, looking around, waiting for somebody to pull them off. And I was really surprised because nobody was looking as though they thought that would be the best outcome. They had their heads down and they were just getting on with playing the bowls. And as I said earlier, the standard of bowls being played certainly proved that the greens were up to it, as long as the players could keep themselves mentally in it. And they're doing the same thing today. There's nobody looking around as though they are really sort of hoping for somebody to pull them in.
Yeah, so Westinson is wandering around as though they're just keeping an eye on it. Greenkeeper Duncan Elphick has been on top of things, but
They certainly are unpleasant conditions, but they're not unplayable. The green, slight pulling up, just coming in the corner of the green that they're on the TV rink.
but just
Has just picked up a bit now, but the rest of the green is looking remarkably dry.
so
At least free of standing water. I couldn't say it's dry, but certainly you can't see any slicks of water building up on the other rinks. Just down in the corner here where it all drains to the corner,
well,
starting to get that film of water on it.
Jamie Lee just flopped over there, and we might be doing belly flops shortly, but that might have just turned in for shot. It's a good effort from Sharon Farrell. That was a positive line to get down. So my Google's telling me here that I visit this website often. It's the local radar, and as I bring up the loop, we're sort of right on the edge of it. So I'm glad we're not a little bit further south. Grafton looking to be copping the brunt of the wet weather today.
I heard it had gone a bit further south of us, the intensity of it.
Oh, Karen Murphy.
This is a good bowl.
She's got some
coming in.
intensity here. Karen Murphy, she's trailed the jack and she's gone with it. Well done, Karen. Well, that might just take the wind out of the sails of any potential fight back there. Katie Astley perhaps for the first time in this match, maybe I'm imagining it, but was looking at that with a little bit dispirited.
The facial expression had just changed a bit. I think she knows it too. They might pick up singles through these closing stages of things, but they've just not got themselves into a position where they really look like at any moment they could crack a multiple. I mean, sometimes when people are playing good tight bowls throughout and they're still losing, as long as they're keeping enough grouped around, there can be a moment of inattention from the opponents or a trail of jack, and then you're in with a 5 in the closing stages of things, and then everybody picks up their act and gets on with it. But it's just this game doesn't have that feeling about it at the moment. It's looking as though Katie could have this lovely bowl come down, get a little rub maybe, just not enough for the shot.
Didn't need it.
But she's just looking as though she's not got enough to work with, Katie, to actually be able to pull off something that'll really turn the tide of the game at this point.
Yeah, you do feel as though they are chasing, and to find a multiple against Karen Murphy, Jamie Lee Worsnop and Jessie Cottell, well, you need a little bit of good luck as well as good management.
You do need the luck.
As Karen's made that 2.
But the luck is more likely to come when you're at least giving yourself a chance on every end and getting enough close bowls in or enough things grouped well. But in these sort of conditions, that is harder to do, and I think overall some of the experience of the Cabramatta team is just showing through in terms of being able to group bowls in a way that will keep them in there, and they might go down a 1, I say, here and there, but certainly Merrylands, you would think, would have to, on some end, in the next couple of ends, really pick up a good multiple or even a couple of 3s, consecutive 3s or something that would just get them back within a hope. But looking at the score, you're thinking at this point that it's very much looking like a Cabramatta win.
Yeah, class has prevailed so far. There's absolutely no knock on the very youthful trio from Merrylands. Expect to see them prominent in state championships for years to come. Katie Astley looking to get down and sit through this shot bowl. Well, she gave it every chance, and that's really all you can ask. But 2 more it is. So 21 of 25 ends now, 15 the margin. 4 ends to play. So doing the maths here, a score of 4 or greater to Cabramatta would see this final concluded.
Yes, you have to wonder whether the weather has overall played a part in it, but on the other hand, if you've watched the performance of Jessie Cottell, Jamie Lee Worsnop and Karen Murphy through the tournament, it would be no surprise that they're still playing this standard even in the rain, and the other girls don't have that same depth of experience.
Well,
But
Sophie though,
look at her though. That's
don't
lovely
worry
to
about
see.
the experience. She looks a class act, and
She does indeed. I mean, Katie, we've already got used to seeing Katie's name and things definitely coming up through the ranks of things, and we would expect to see them a long time. But Sophie's definitely put on a good showing today.
I keep calling Sophie Payne a player of the future, but she really is a player of the now.
I think so. She's
And
here already, I think.
being asked to play a tighter line now, finish behind and inside. Well done, says Katie Astley. I've got to find a way to find. You think it's going to have to be a big score here for Merrylands. Else the players may be shaking hands. So there are 6 shots available at a maximum every end. So if the ends remaining...
There's Karen with the cloth again.
Yeah, if the ends remaining and the shots available, well, that's unlucky
Oh,
from
it is, unfortunate.
Sharon. Just chip the jack across. So, yes, if the margin is greater than the amount of shots available, the players will shake hands. Just being asked to drop into there, Jamie Lee. I'll slip past, and I think if you're Katie Astley, you're calling positive through the forehand. Yep.
Sophie has got the bowl over there if they can spring the jack to there, and then if Katie could follow up with bowls over there, but you'd still have to rate Karen to be able to get something in there as well if that should happen.
Well, I liked the speed there. Just a hair under the line.
She did have the right weight for that shot, I believe.
She gave herself a chance to sit the green and gold bowl out and stay, or spring the jack. A little bit higher, could have perhaps got a split and moved one of the Merrylands bowls onto the jack as well. So giving themselves chances, but the chances have been taken almost exclusively here by Cabramatta. The Karen Murphy skip trio has just been imperious.
Meanwhile, I see that the Open Reserves has been won by Club Dubbo, West Dubbo, I believe. I've seen one of the Dubbo boys going past with bag in hand. They wouldn't have played the last end over there. The final score over there, 24-15. West Dubbo over Albion Park.
So Katie Astley, she's going to line up and go firm on the forehand as well. This looks to be a pretty good track based off what we saw from Sharon Farrell. Well, she's got another one to the back of the rink. Still has a favour 2 seconds and a chance to spring jack. And the call from Jamie Lee, play it first. You beat him to it. Okay, so that's a high line with this this breeze blowing.
Yes, it hasn't really come back down to cover Sharon's bowls at the back of the rink, which is, when you looked at the shot, the view from the other side, it still looked like there was an opportunity maybe, if, I suppose, not so likely, but you could get the jack sprung across and then bounce back down the back where Sharon has got the bowls. But Katie's played a good line again, but I think she's just going to get her own rather than the shot.
Well, it's such a tight hand there. Very little turn. One shot only to Cabramatta. They now lead by 16 with 3 to play. So for this match to continue, there's going to have to be a pickup of 4 shots to Merrylands on this end, which you do feel is beyond what that can be achieved with against this super Cabramatta team. Rain just intensifies again. Karen Murphy throws the hood on. And, well, we've seen some superb leading. Jessie Cottell set this up so well. She's had her bowls in and around the jack with monotonous regularity.
When you're the opposing skip, it is monotonous, I have to say. You have somebody leading so reliably against you, it certainly sets the tone for each end. Don't know that she really would have preferred to move the jack there, but she has stayed with it quite well and stayed slightly behind. However, it's given Sophie something nice to sit on if she can just get a line in under there. Right, a good fist of it.
Wow, just grazing past the jack. I think for Sophie Payne, she'll perhaps after a hot shower and a change of clothes, we'll be able to reflect back on this game as a great learning experience to be around, you know, the very best that we can perhaps put together in New South Wales. the likely looking champions here. Jessie Cottell, Jamie Lee Worsnop and Karen Murphy Cabramatta holding the ascendancy here as we see.
Yes, it's looking very unlikely actually that Merrylands could pull 4 out of this end. Jamie Lee's put that bowl nicely in behind. In other circumstances through a game, it would give the opponents a chance to just sit onto one of those bowls, JL's or Jessie's. However, they need the multiple. Just being able to use those bowls to sit around the jack won't help them. And with Sharon having left the first bowl short, she might just get caught up on it too.
Yeah, well,
yes, that is unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. Really, really hard to see a 4 here now with those bowls so dispersed. As I'll give you the.
You see,
from
there's
the
the other
centre
one of
camera.
Jamie Lee's down the back. So even trying to push the jack back down through there, Jamie Lee's got that bowl in quite a valuable spot right down long.
Yeah, well, it may be a kill situation, but it also may be a situation where Merrylands are consigned to their fate and they say, well, let's just see if we can park a couple close finish creditably. And
Look, I think they actually have played very creditably. The scoreline looks a bit off, and in a way you could say, well, you know, could they have done more? I actually think that the wind has played more havoc with their bowls in a way, especially in the early stage of the game when the wind was very gusty. The wind's been a bit calmer lately. It's still quite a steady wind, and the bowls won't be performing on the wet green the same as they would be in the dry with that amount of wind on them. So I think that they just, it looked to me earlier that they just weren't coping with the pathway side of that rink, the Merrylands trio. Cabra just were able to keep playing both sides of the green. Karen in particular was really quite magnificent in the early stages of this game. Every time that Merrylands girls were looking like they were doing something good, Karen just got those bowls in there. And we know she can do that, and she certainly was in full flight earlier in the game, and the other girls have just used that to remain very steady, and you have had the sense that Merrylands have just had to play catch-up over and over again.
no, you're exactly right.
Having said that,
Billy Mars. It's a nice effort there. I feel as though there's only 2 more bowls to come in this game now. Jamie Lee, the professional, all the way to the end, saying, here's how we defend against it, here's how we maximise our chances. And when you've got the Australian assistant coach with you, that's the sort of attitude that you need to have. You have to be ruthless if you're going to win a state title. As Karen comes down, she's going to sneak through that hole. And
well, I think at this point,
if you're
Katie would have to go for the kill because
Katie
there's
Astley,
nowhere
yeah.
she can move things to that will create the multiple that she needs. Or as you said, she might have realised that it's going to be such a long uphill battle. But she'll have another go at it. She had actually had really good weight before, but she's going to have to slice that jack across to get it killed from here.
Yeah, very hard. But she's having
She's going for it.
Everyone looking to get some contact on the jack. But that will be all. The players shake hands. It is Cabramatta who run out our champions once again for 2025 here at the TAB State Championships. Champions in the men's triples last night. Champions in the women's triples today. The scoreboard attendant has not been advised of what the score is, but we're seeing the players shaking hands, and congratulations to the team of Jessie Cottell, Jamie Lee Worsnop and Karen Murphy, your 2024-25 Bowls New South Wales Women's Triples State Champions. Billy Mars, what a game.
It was a great game to watch, Nick. They all have been right through the tournament, but it is great. What did you say, 1980? We've gone back to and haven't found an instance of the one club taking out the same title in both women's and men's in the same year. So we've witnessed a piece of history there.
No, fantastic to see, and thank you, Billy. That's going to conclude our broadcast for this morning. We trust you've enjoyed the coverage. We look forward to having your company, we hope, we trust, this afternoon for the first round of men's pairs, where we're going to see St John's Park up against Tuncurry Beach. That's scheduled to start at 2 o'clock. Do like, follow, subscribe. Have your notifications turned on because we may see some changes to that scheduling to work around with this weather. But on behalf of Billy Mars and the whole Bowls New South Wales team, my name is Nick Hind. It's been fantastic to have your company today here at Cherry Street Sports.